The next theme that we are going to look crops up again and again from many different openings, many different positions. It is a theme which you should keep in your arsenal as a chess player. The game which I am about to show you is between Botvinnik and Pomar from 1962. The game began as a Reti opening, and after g3, d5, knight f3, c5, bishop g2, knight c6, d3, e5, we have some sort of a reversed King's Indian where white is up a tempo. Castles, bishop d6, e4, d4. Black gains a lot of space in the position. White is playing a little bit unambitiously, but this is a very legitimate way to play this opening. Knight g7. And the next move played by Botvinnik was something which was not so good. He played the move c4. In such positions, I think it's much more logical to go c3 and break the center, but closing with c4 means that in a way your counterplay is reduced and black's central space becomes the defining factor. Okay, but Botvinnik wanted to in some ways stop black's counterplay on the queen side and start his own play on the king side. So after f6, which was a logical move strengthening the center, Botvinnik went knight to h4. Now it's clear that he wants to break the position with the move f4. So he played Pomar played bishop e6, and f4 was a very logical move. E takes f4, g takes f4. In this position, black has, according to me, an excellent situation here, because even though white has got these two pawns, they cannot yet advance. If he plays e5, it's just the pawn is lost, and he cannot advance f5 because then the e5 square is lost. So in a way, these pawns are not so threatening just as yet. So a logical idea would definitely be to castle, and black has wonderful position according to me, something like nd f3, queen d7, bishop d2, rook b8, angling for b5 would have given black wonderful chances. But as it so happened, Pomar went wrong over here and he played the move queen to c7. Now this was a mistake, and this is where I want you to pause the DVD and have a think about this position. I hope that you are in the training mode and you cannot see the next move. It's white to play. What did Botvinnik come up with? Okay, I hope that you thought for some time. Botvinnik's position was not so good a move ago, but here he has this opportunity which should not be missed at any cost. Now, first of all, in order to explain this idea, I would say that white would like to somehow play move like f5, just trying to gain more space. The problem here is that he's giving up the e5 square, and also it opens up the diagonal of this bishop. So for example, if f5, then look at these pieces. After bishop f7, this bishop is totally strong, or maybe you can just snap this pawn, and after king h1, bishop f7, this bishop's diagonal is totally open and the knight is coming to e5. This is just better for black. But if you think about it, you can make a pawn sacrifice over here, closing that diagonal and taking up the e5 square by playing the move e5. And this is a wonderful move. because after the bishop is trapped, so you have to take the pawn, and after fe5 there is the move f5, and the same thing over here. We got the pawn push, and after the bishop goes back, you can realize that this diagonal has been closed. The knight no longer has the e5 square. It's like this pawn on e5 is a big traitor. He needs to be removed out from there, but you can't do that. And white can just take control of the e4 square for his own knight. The bishop on g2 is now spitting fire on this diagonal. I mean, white is just better. Of course, here Botvinnik could have continued very strongly with the move queen g4, because you cannot long castle. f6 is killing. You cannot short castle. Again, f6 is very strong. So in a way, this would have been very strong, but what he played was also good. Knight to e4, keeping the knight on the strong square, and white has a clear-cut advantage here. So this is a theme which should be remembered. What exactly we are looking at is that sometimes in a position you want to make a pawn advance, but it gives up some squares. It also opens the diagonals for your opponent. So have a small think about that position and see if you can take away that square, or you can close that diagonal, just as Botvinnik did over here.